We'll go ahead and start recording there. I did some London streams. We were talking about this setup on GBP, so I figured I might as well finish it off. But right, I was saying, hey, we have this hourly and 5-minute model. I'm expecting it to at least trade at these highs. Didn't really care about that high. But what was I looking for? We have expansion. And then I was saying I was looking for a retracement into this fair value gap to trade higher. Right? This was all live during London. And then I was saying there's no closure in here, right? It would have had to have been this candle in here. So when that fails, right, then I have to wait for a new setup or a new formation, right? So a bit sketchy, but once we close over there, we do end up going higher. But I was just showing that because that's how you can use closures to let it confirm for you what's going to happen, right? Now, the other thing I was talking about in stream, we can go take a look at, was this CL reversal, which eventually expanded prior to, it was actually a reversal and a expansion day. Right? So if we look at the daily here, I was saying that I was looking for price to reverse here, right? So off the previous day high as well. We go to the hourly. If we're looking to frame that reversal, right, we have this marked up. I already have it marked up into this fair value gap. That's what we were talking about in stream, that reversal there. So when we sweep this out, we have a candle 2 closure bullish, traces in there, and then that fails, right? And since it has a small enough wick, it can expand, and it expands there. So today, what am I looking for? A continuation lower. I do want to see some of these failure swings right now to put in a wick, right? So ideally something up there and then down. But any questions on this? This is an example of, it's not as ideal because of this candle, right? But that's just the jump off the start of the open. So you can really kind of look at building its base here. So we form that shallow reversal. Any questions on those? Yeah, you guys get a deep morning voice. But other than that, let's go into indices. I didn't really know what was going on in indices, but when we talked about it yesterday, I was favoring to the downside just because on ES, right, what did we have? We hit previous day high, and then we were leaving this previous day low, right? So we did get that. It's just, am I going to trade this? No, I'm not going to trade this, even if I have a bias, because it's just very messy, right? I suppose you could have traded, I don't know if anyone traded the New York move here. That's about it. But it's a bit choppy in here. You see how, go over this real quick. Generally, if you're going to form a reversal, this is really great, honestly, right? Candle 2 closure, closes below here in the entry sequence. But then what? We can anticipate this high to remain intact. So ideally, you'd want to see, okay, we've expanded retracement to just expand lower, right? And going into 930, you just want to see 930 drive that lower, right? What does it do? Doesn't do much. So then 10 a.m., new 4-hour candle can do that. Okay, cool. That looks great. You'd want to see a continuation here. And what do we get? It's just choppy, right? It's like, yeah, it eventually goes and does it, but it's waiting for FOMC to do it. So if we go back here, 5-minute, it's waiting for that news release to do it. And then if you're just viewing it as a whole range, like we have it marked out, the actual move on FOMC would be, hey, we swept out a consolidation low. We can trade higher. But even looking at this, is this something you want to trade? Not really, right? Ideally, we close over here, shallow. This just respects and goes, right? Because that's what you want to see, close over there and go. What does it do? Fails, right? Or not fails, but failure swings, aggressive down, already takes the high. At that point, there's nothing. You see how there's just, this isn't anything I'm going to trade, right? And I'm not going to just trade it into FOMC release. So there's really not much there for me. Did I stream FOMC? One shot. No, I didn't trade. Or I was asleep during FOMC. But that was my kind of thoughts on indices. I didn't So that's why I said in my analysis, there just wasn't anything, right? So hopefully that makes sense, right? And even today, it's like we can consider this as a reversal point, but more than likely I see this failing and then trading to previous day high. Depending on the lower time frame structure, let's just take a look real quick with this setup. Yeah. We can close over that, it's just more likely to fail, right? So there's kind of two options here. It's we either form a reversal there or we just trade to the high. It's not very interesting. You see how it's not clear, but the main thing I'm looking at here is now we've swept this low. We don't have this high, right? So consolidation, sweep the low, can trade it higher. And then as we go to NQ, we can take a look. Same setup, just better, right? So this one actually gives the setup. Ideally, it'd make a shallow retracement. Ideally, consolidation here. Keep out the low, then go higher. Right? And we have high. So that's NQ. We'll go over to gold here. I was talking about gold in here, actually. It just didn't provide the setup I was looking for. We can talk about it really quick. So I was live streaming during this. And what I'm looking here for here is, hey, we have a fair value gap here. We have a low resting. And what is this? Candle 2 closure, but it's also ideal candle 2 closure. This ideally, because this has retched into a point of interest close below this up close candle, I expect it to remain intact. I'm going to trade it lower. So from there, I can mark this out. So looking at that, we go to the hourly. It already had a move, which we also talked about. Right? Close below here, which is also what we want to see. 30. There's no swing points, right? So with this, I was talking about, hey, I would want to see price trace up into here, right, to form a high and then go. I was talking about this high forming a reversal. If that forms a reversal, can trade it lower. We go to the 5 minute, right? And I was saying, hey, it's mostly ideal if we can sweep this high out and not close over this level. Because if we close over that level, that is a bullish change in the state of delivery, right? And we'll go to this time frame so you can see what I mean. Right? What do we get? We close over and then we trade it higher. Right? So at that point, if our whole idea is a shallow 4-hour wick into here to trade it lower, what do we have? Let's take a look at the 4-hour wick in comparison to this. That's not a shallow wick, right? It would need to have been like even that, a bit lower. Right, so at that point, it's just invalidated, right? So it's just consolidation. So that's when just avoid it, right? Or you're going to get chopped up. So that is what we were watching. And finally goes in, reaches up at this high, right? And we have equal highs. But this is just consolidation range. Right. Any questions on that? Let's see. Yeah, I am. How do you see gold going into a new day? I mean, it's just consolidating. So it's like, to me, it's like, there's not much here because if I had a better reversal here, I just don't like the look of this. Better reversal here. It's like, hey, can reach for this, which these would be my 2 targets. I think it's more likely to reach for this low for sure. And then possibly this low over reaching for this low. And then I want to see, do we close bullish, in which I can trade that higher, or do we close bearish, right? I'm ideally hoping we close bullish because that's a lot easier to trade. Here, let's see. Yeah, it's not easier to trade. I kind of just hope we chill for the next 2 days, and then new week we can trade too. Here. But really not a lot there. Silver. This also gives me confidence to think that we go lower today. This look. Day reversal, Thursday continuation. Have a good night. Did I start recording? I did. Yeah, it's in a spot that, yeah, exactly. It's just consolidating right now. Can you break down clearly how you spot protected highs and lows and what we have to do to confirm it's actually protected? Yeah, I can do that. Let's go to oil for an example. So there's two things I look for in a protected high or low. It has to reach into a fair value gap or sweep out a high or low. Right, so if we see price reach up into here, right, what do we need for a protected low? And let's say we see price reach into here. What do we need for a protected high? Well, I need to see it close below the series of down close candles or up close candles into that. So in this case, we've made a new high. I gotta see it close below series of up close candles there. Something like that. Once we do, that high is then protected. Okay. Same thing here. Once we close over that, that low is then protected. So going into oil, the whole reason I was talking about it in the London session, is what do we see on this high? We form a reversal off the previous day high. Right here. And then what do we notice in here? Forms a protected high, right? As it closes through. Here's up close candles. Swept out previous day high and into this point of interest. Right? And when I talk about the entry sequence, it always means this is always going to form with a candle closure first, right? Because if price is going to reverse, it has to form a swing point. So if it forms one of our swing points and closure through, it's like this is a potential short setup. This is another short setup, right? The initial reversal, the confirmed reversal. Yo, how's it going, Garrett? Going to walk the dog for the I streamed both times that you were walking the dog for its dump. That's crazy. 1 hour has loads of targets internally. Yeah. Yes. I'm not even whispering though. Just my voice in the mornings. You guys are trolling. Alright, and unlike YouTube comments, I'm not gonna read a book ASMR. Alright, any questions on just kind of the analysis? We can go over my analysis into tomorrow on most, but mainly looking for oil to continue lower, right? And then RB is weaker. And I talked about that yesterday. So RB, right, to continue lower. Ideally, I hate when it does this, but I'm not a fan of when it does this. Picks up previous day low, can't close, picks up previous day low. Because what is this? What can that do? Aiden, you can answer this one. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Rail me. That's a good one. So let's go to that hour and I'll explain. Right. If it's just, it's not as clean on here. But a lot of times what that looks like is there, there. And so if it just displaces back in, you're forming a reversal off previous day low. We have the change in state delivery that can trade higher. So that's why I generally like to see when we have a low like that, open high, then it's easy to trade that into the lows, right? Versus we open, we run out the previous day low and we come back in, just a little bit more sketchy. You're done with oil. 11 a.m. candle. 11. I wouldn't have traded that, to be fair. Like, yeah, price is likely going for its overrun RB. Yeah, sure, you could trade that. Let's explain why. So one thing you want to do is mark out highs and lows on the other side for you. So we can just mark all these out. Because if price is going to reverse, it's generally going to do it at one of these points or fair value gaps, but I just focus on highs and lows mostly. So if price can reverse right here, right, we want to see expansion. Is it retracement or consolidation, which can continue lower? Is it expansion back in to a form of reversal? We take a look. All right, and that answers our question. Reaches back up in there, closes below. So if it's not really relevant to reverse anywhere in here, we have these targets. We have a candle 2 closure. That's when I can look to trade the 12, right? Does that make sense? We can click here. Go look at that real quick for you. Right. You can trade it. Are you going to catch an entry on that? Personally, I wouldn't. Unless there's SMT here. But even then, it's like you're below lows, and our targets are here. It's like you're entering right next to our target. So the only way to approach that is when it retraces up into here, go to it on the 30 and see. But even on the 30 and 3 minute, it seems to be not one that I'm going to catch. If it didn't take out the low, that would be possible, but 3. Right? Like it opens here, right? And then it just falls. So it's really not much to base a stop on. Is a protected fair value gap the same thing as a fair value gap? I don't know what a protected fair value gap is. I'm not sure, unless, can you show me a photo or something? So Thomas, I wouldn't catch the oil continuation there at 11 a.m. unless you're entering on a higher time frame. Once price interacts with a daily high or low, you either use it as a reversal or if price is going to continue. Yeah, so when you see price trade into a previous day low or high, you want to be watching it. A good example of this is you can go back into my analysis, look at the day I said this. Right here, I said, hey, we're either going to go trade into this low on a reversal, or we're going to continue to Friday's low. We go to the hour. Let's see how price interacted at this level. Okay. Sure, this could potentially look like a retracement or reversal here, so I'll give it another candle. And even if I need one more. Okay. Expansion. This didn't reverse back into the range, so what do I expect? If this is going to fail, not form a reversal, the relevant level, that low. So now that gives me from here to anticipate down. There. Now at this low, what do we form? Expansion met with expansion. This is more so a reversal. Then I could look to frame it back into the range, right? But why wouldn't I do this until the next day? I don't like to trade reversal days. And if I'm trading a reversal day, it needs to open near that to have a shallow wick to trade that way. This opened here. Now we have all this range down here. Is it going to go all the way back up? Usually not likely. Sometimes it can go back up to the open or these session highs. Let's see what happens. No, it does go back to the daily open. Cool. Right. But every relevant swing, we have to pause and wait for what? Well, you don't have to pause and wait. It's just, if we're going to form a reversal, it's usually going to occur at those levels. It's like, that's why my indicator will mark out previous highs and lows, right? For instance, this would be where we would reverse, but we just expand through it. But then the next day we come back below it, right? So then now it's just a range deviation. But that's why I don't make it very complex with my point of interest. If you go through my analysis, what is all my points of interest? It's just focused on previous day's highs and lows. We go to almost every day. What's this day focused on? These previous day's lows here. Okay, we trade higher. I have a previous high here. Okay, this is failing. Previous day high. I don't know what's going on in this day. After this, previous day low, that low. Right, you see what I mean? Like I'm not looking at some new week opening gap from 3.5 years ago. I'm just using the last few days. FOMC non-event. I don't know. FOMC press conference is a large event. I don't know what you mean, actually. Yes, this stream is recorded. What's up, Unk? Got uni at 9 in the morning. Throws me back. I was talking about this also in stream yesterday. GBP USD. I was saying for euro and pound, I want to see it take previous day high. Not previous day high. Might have been that on euro. Let's see. But here I'm saying I'm bearish. Right? But then what was confusing is I was also bearish on dollar to that low, which did take out. Oh no, it didn't take it out. I was bearish on dollar here, which was a bit confusing for me. Euro. Hey, euro's funny for that. I was looking for euro to say, hey, just tap into that. Get this little sweep. But for anyone trading Forex, I'm looking for that on euro. Maybe I'll post this in chat, but I'll explain why. Do the full markup. It's just a bit messy, to say the least. We'll throw it in the analysis channel real quick, midstream. Does that make sense though? We have price forming a reversal off here. So again, we trade into this high. If we're going to form a retracement reversal, what happens? Just let the candle closure tell us. Expansion out, expansion in, close below there. Reversal. Where do we want to see? Hold, 0.5. Retracement up here. Failure swings, right? So bearish in here. You guys remember me talking about bearish euro and pound in here. In we go. We leave this low. Why do we leave this low? It doesn't make sense. Then we have what? Expansion. Is this a reversal? No, that's a retracement. Bearish closure. I'd want to see euro trade lower today. But then we go down to the hourly. We have a candle 3 closure. Let me go back to the daily real quick to show you. We have a candle 3 closure because we're closing below this body. Hopefully that makes sense. We go to the hourly and clean it up by just saying we're only bearish right now. And what do we notice? We're in a fair value gap. Open high. Potentially this could just be the high day right here. It's just, did it close below? No. Not technically valid yet. Right? So if not, and it just consolidates, then it's more of a consolidation. One more run out, go lower. That'd be my whole plan for euro. What's the best time to wake up? I would say if you're in Eastern Standard Time and can watch from 8 a.m. to 11, that's pretty ideal. Very rarely am I taking entries prior to 8. How do you trade using a continuation after the retracement reversal? Usually don't know if you have any examples handy where we can find one in here. I'm gonna go to something random that I haven't seen. And we'll go here. We'll go back one more. Okay. All right. I think I talked about this. I actually talked about this yesterday in stream. Should I just replay it? Yeah, we're just gonna replay it. I don't know why. Someone was asking me about intra week swing trading, and I was saying, hey, if you're gonna do that, just focus on candle 2 closures. Right? Maybe I'm tripping and it's not this. I think it was Euro JPY. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just tired. Anyways, I might be tripping. Oh well. Anyways, can't remember what asset we were talking about, but I was just saying all I would do is look for candle 2 closures and then trade the hourly chart in the other direction. Anyone in that stream that remembers what I was talking about? Yo, can you guys hear the construction? This is actually terrible. No one was in that stream. Alright, never mind. Going back to the Euro JPY. Just go hit this example. So, we have price currently in a downtrend, right? Candle for continuation. What's in this area? Consolidating the high. That's where we want to see it hold if we're going to form the upper daily wick. And what do we notice about this? Remember how I was saying I want to see this left? Yeah. Well, you guys hear this? It's because of the Alright, I just turned off the noise suppression. It's a better now. It's just you guys might hear the background noise, but I won't sound like one. Is it really, really bad? Alright, it's background. I told you it's so loud. Anyways, right? It's actually terrible. I'm finding a different example, but we don't have a candle 2 closure there, so we can go to the 30 and see if we do. If they have a candle 2 closure there. Right. So I can look to trade this lower. Guys, it's so hard. Right. This is an example. Let's go back to wick size. If I want to trade candle 2 ever, I don't talk about this much. Garrett's talked about it some. I want to have price with a shallow wick. Remember, this is what I was talking about on the daily. See how price opens up right near its previous candle high. Let's say this is a daily, previous daily high. Takes out the reversal of the universe. So we get that. So going into this, we have expansion. See, this is a consolidation. So to see a consolidation, I want to see a sweep of this and then trade lower, and then that can be my continuation. And it may not do it. Let's see if it breaks down. Okay. Yeah, it just breaks down. Would prefer more of a sweep there, something like that. I don't really trust that high. So breaks down. If we're still under the impression that I can trade lower, we want to look for retracement, because this is technically protected. And yeah, I didn't trust those highs, but at this point, we're already trading away. If this is going to continue to trend, it's not going to go all the way back up here and then back down, right? It's just going to do that. Let's see. Form a retracement. So, and that's not something I'm going to catch. So, random example, which is why we don't catch anything. But what are we looking for if we're going to catch that continuation? And this was your question. Yes, it's so bad, guys. Expression working its magic. It was, yeah, it's going crazy. That's why I sound like a robot apparently. But I think the OBS is going to be absolutely terrible. If anyone wants to record it, that'd be sick. The question was, it was just about how would you catch that? Well, ideally we have expansion. If I'm expecting continuation, you want to see a retracement into a point of interest, right? And that's the whole idea behind the entry sequence. Point of interest, swing formation, closure through. Here we have expansion. I'm expecting continuation. I want to see a retracement into where? To a point of interest. Do we reach into a point of interest? No, so I can't catch this continuation. It's like, you see how I essentially missed this whole thing? Maybe we can catch it here. It's a bit messy in here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna take this, most likely. Yeah, it's just consolidating now, so now I would just wait for a new swing. It would potentially, but it would be more discretionary. Push it through there, and expecting continuation low. But if consolidation price action. So now, even if it goes down, right, that's fine. You see how we're just building all these failure swings? I'm not a fan of that. Does that make sense? Alright, let me go back to this. Yeah, it is miserable. They've been doing this since like 8 a.m. Yeah, I did like a 2.5 hour stream during London. And I appreciate how simple the framework can be. I used to try a million things. Yeah, you just can't execute on them. How do you choose when to stick to the 105 or move down to the... So it's more so like if something's there or if it's not. So here's a... I mainly look at the 105 and then if I have to go lower. It doesn't really matter which I use for me. The one time I will almost always use the 30 and 3 is something like this. Let's see if I can find a scenario here. Here we are on the hour. We have this reversal off the previous day high. So again, this reversal off previous day high, and we have this closure here. So you see how there's not really any point of interest, nothing in here to trade off of. I'm expecting this high to hold. So it's like I can use 0.5 of this in here and look for a swing. I'm going to form a swing, it has to sweep up in here. But this, then I can say, hey, I'll drop into the 30 for a little bit better picture. And then that can make more sense, right? If I look right here, biggest fan. Did close below. We can technically use this. It's either, this is a bit more risky, but technically protected high, retraces back into it. So it can look to trade this 30-minute, 3-minute. The thing is, we're near the lows. So what do I want to see? I want to see us leave this low and get an entry prior to that. Right? With this, currently, protected high I need here. Right? I don't want to see price trade above that. So ideally, price comes over here, form a swing, and I trade lower. Otherwise, I won't catch it. If I take an entry like this, I can't really get to that low. Could I just take 2R? Sure. But I honestly didn't look at the higher time frames for the bias. But let's do that and see if the second entry forms. Oh, nice. Stopped out. Okay. This is why I like to wait for that intra-candle check to deliver. But even at this point, really shit example, but you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. If we want to see, the sound is absolutely terrible. Here is what I hear. It's so bad, guys. It's actually really hard to focus. I can't focus. But let me re-answer your question with maybe something that I actually can anticipate, not just some. I need one that's when I would actually use it. It's really just what looks better, what has a swing. There's specific examples where I will always use the lower one. It's only when we have like an aggressive V-shaped reversal, which I'm not expecting a new swing to form. So it's like I'm gonna go in here, look for that lower time frame swing. Goodness, this makes me want to die. This sound. Every time I think I'm gonna stop, they just keep going. Anyways, I'll find another example of that. Are you supposed to trade when you have protected swing and failures? Well, it's kind of hard to have protected swings and failure swings on each side. You either have one or the other, generally. Right? So it's like if you're in a range, you're either gonna have failure swings or protected highs. So like if we're internal to the range, it's really terrible. Right? If we're internal to the range, like we kind of have failure swings on both sides. Versus if we sweep past one side of the range, it's like we don't have failure swings. We have high resistance. Okay? But the main thing is, I do most of this on the lower time frame or the structure, right? I use my higher time frame closures, right? I use my higher time frame closures to tell me, like in here, we close like that, I'm looking bullish, right? So I don't really care down here if there's a few failure swings, right? Because I'm not expecting price to go, oh, take those out, then go, right? If it fails, yeah, sure. Right? But my whole mindset is that it trades over there in a continuation. Guys, this is the worst stream I've ever had in my life. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, guys, this is actually the worst stream I've ever had in my life. Guys, I actually just can't. Alright, someone ask some questions so I can continue. Otherwise, when you get to indices, is it safe to say we put on a Wednesday reverse? I kind of talked about it. Back to NQ. To me, it's just a consolidation range, but I'm favoring the upside because of this reversal, yes. So you'd be correct in that where I need to see this. We should probably just throw this in Aussie's chat. That will clear it up. As they stopped. Oh, they can. Sorry for the language, but that was a nice 10 seconds. Even with the candle wick on both sides. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's not as ideal, right? But that's why it's like you have to see it, this part. Right, so, like, either this fails or we just stay in. Right? Like, my whole plan is, okay, we reach into a fair value gap, that's cool. Right? Problem is there's no real down close candles there. So it's like, I'm not trusting that. I'm viewing this more as a consolidation. So with this, what do I want to see? Ideally London. If London can come in and sweep that out, then I'll take long. Guys, I woke up with a headache this morning and I was like, oh, why do I have a headache? I think it was my body just prepping me for this. Yo, 8 and I do not do that. You don't even troll about that. Delete that. That's how you like start some rumor and then ruins my reputation or something. I'm school for the summer. I am able to observe the charts and work. I really dedicate myself, continue watching streams, and turn on lectures. Teaching profitable. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put a timeline on yourself. Like I used to do that where I'm like, I need to be profitable at this point. Like, stop thinking about it that way. Just think about it in terms of like, hey, I need to follow my rules, I need to follow a model, I need to follow this. Just do that consistently. I'm wearing my glasses right now. Yeah. I'm gonna pause this stream. Alright, recording is back. Less background noise. Went through your course again recently, wanted to ask. So when you pull up the daily range for today, EQ of the day is above the CISD. Shouldn't we watch for the... So today is kind of a specific case where we had a very not great close, right? If you look, this isn't a very good close. Right? Like we make the high because of this move here. So in this case, it's like, I'm not really giving much relevance to the EQ because that's more so if we close in the highs, it's like conform the wick there. So it's more so for me using the lower time frame structure here. I got a ticket a few days ago, so it'll be gone for a month. You like going to jail or you just what do you bro got a ticket, goes to jail for a month. See ya. Just finished moving to a new place. Oh, heck yeah. That'd be sick. Oh, dang, bro. What did you do? Did you speed? Parking ticket? You can code an indicator and how much? Yo, don't take 2 if it's just trolling. Man gets tagged a lot. Parking ticket. Broke out 1 month in jail. 17 of 45. I mean, I prefer even numbers, so I would have gone for like a 90, so you're at least doing double. In Cape Town, we were going, what? I think it was like an 80 or a 120. I was going 200. which is the standard deviation projection. Do you trade daily range candle which took both sides of the range? So you can, right? Like see this took both sides of the range, but I still have a bias because consolidation, we sweep out the low, can trade that higher, right? It's not as ideal, right? Obviously it's more ideal if we hadn't taken this high out. We have that, because then that gives us just a small range. We can just say, hey, we want to see it, and then I can see how it trade through. Do we reverse or do we continue? But you can still do that, right? What you want to focus on is the body. So it's like, is this bearish? No, it's not bearish to me. Because we came down up the low. So it's bearish or bullish change in state delivery. It's like, this isn't bearish to me. So it's like, you just have to get some more information. It's not as easy. Minus 4R after that ticket. Yeah. Don't speed. One more example without range. Yeah, sure, we can go find one. Here's one. Is this bearish or bullish? And why? It took both sides. Bearish. Yeah, so there you go, right? And how do you determine that? Well, you're looking at the color of the candle, the body. You see that it went up, then closed lower. So you're viewing it as a reversal to then trade it lower. That's all you do. Should we do another one? Bullish or bearish? Wow. Right? You're going to say bearish. Right? That makes sense. The ones I want to avoid are something like once again, still here. Bullish or bearish? To me, it's more bullish because I've got this low previous and we're closing green. But what could I do? Say I don't know. Go down to the hourly and see the structure. Okay. That clear things up. Expansion. This would have to be a retracement. We're going to continue. What would I need? Sweep of this low and long, because this is a consolidation. If price would have closed over right away, then it would have just been that. Okay. I'll give it one more candle. Why do I not trust this low? Open, high, low, close. It hasn't really formed a nice low. Okay, that's enough. Along that, put my stop in here. And then whatever daily range. Or that, it's a bit late, but oh, this is not amazing. Just didn't really feel like all right, that's good enough. Right, okay, can kind of make sense. Use a Mac to trade, yeah, or my phone. Not 2R. I don't know what it was. I think that was like right around 2R. Ideally, it's like you get a better entry in here, obviously. I just slapped it. I broke my rule. Your understanding of wicks changed the game for me. Yeah, I mean, it's all just candles. It's like you can, once you learn it enough, you can go to any time frame. It's like pick a random spot so I can practice it. Right here, what does price do? Gaps up. Boom. Sweeps the low. Trades higher. Here. Right, like that's what this hourly structure looks like. Obviously, can't get the right size widthwise, but right. So you can like start to visualize all the time frames put together. Like in here, you know this continuation, what it looks like. So we trade higher, take out the range high, take out the range low, trade back to the high. Sweep out this little high, sweep out this low, goes the other way, right? It's not always going to be perfect, but you can visualize it, and that's how you can like see lower time frame order blocks. Because what do you know about a wick? Go here. You guys already know this. What does my model teach you? My model's teaching you all of this without you knowing it. This wick in here. Candle 2 closure, what do we look for inside the wick? Change in the state of delivery. So you know the change in the state of delivery is in this wick. You go to the 5 minute. Yeah, I'm slightly off. I have a few points. See what I mean? Next week, yeah, I'll let you guys know as I go to Italy. I'll go back to a better time zone for some, or we'll see what happens. I don't think this time zone will work for me because I'll be asleep, but cool. Able to go through an A+ daily 4-hour 15. I can do that in the next stream or in another example. I do have another call here, like right now. I need to go do that. Yeah, I'll share pics of my trip. So, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for the crazy amount of noise sitting through that. That was not fun. Give 8 in stream frames. I mean, we can talk about it. All right, see you guys.